Uh, now we're gonna hear, I guess, what Trump has to say about the Iran war and maybe a little bit of analysis from some experts. So this is from BBC News. This is Iran will be blown off the face of the earth if it attacks U.S. vessels, says Trump. Well, newsflash, they already did. They already attacked U.S. vessels. But let's go ahead and watch this and see what's going on here.
And we start in the Middle East with concerns mounting. The fragile ceasefire between the US and Iran is under severe strain. President Trump said on Monday the US has struck 7 Iranian small boats as it works to open the Strait of Hormuz, severely constricted now for over 2 months. The UAE and South Korea both reported strikes on ships in the vital channel on Monday, and the UAE also said a fire broke out at the oil port of Fujairah after an Iranian attack. But the shipping company Maersk told the...
By the way, that I think that was like one of the only facilities that the UAE could ship oil through. So that being out is like a huge deal. It means like they're essentially like no longer to make any money from oil, except for maybe like land routes and land bridges and stuff. So you know, that's a pretty big deal.
BBC, one of its US-flagged vessels had successfully left the strait with US military protection under what Trump has called Project Freedom. In turn, it's been labeled...
I'm glad that they got away from the Operation Epstein Fury. I think that they were having a hard time. You know, the internet had already made up its mind. So now that they're on Project Freedom, that's a lot harder to meme around with, I feel like, because the problem was always that Operation Epic Fury is so like 12-year-old coded that it was like nobody could take it seriously. And so then obviously they wanted to meme on it. Project Freedom just sounds like a normal ass, like American, you know, hoorah name for an operation.
Project Deadlock by Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi, who says there is no military solution to a political crisis. In recent hours, the White House has released a statement saying that the United States is undertaking a humanitarian initiative to restore freedom of navigation for commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, while maintaining a successful naval blockade on Iranian ports, asserting United States dominance over the waterways. Here's the president speaking on Monday evening at the White House.
They have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no anti-aircraft equipment, they have no radar, they have no nothing. They have no leaders, actually. The leaders happen to be gone also. But can't let them have a nuclear weapon, or you'd have problems like nobody would believe. And it's going very well.
Well, Jacob Larson is Chief Safety and Security Officer of the Baltic and International Maritime Council. It's the largest association of ship owners in the world. I asked him for his take on the situation in the Strait of Hormuz.
Since yesterday, Iran has again demonstrated that they're able to project power into the Strait of Hormuz, and that the US does not have sea control of that area. And I mean, to the shipping industry, of course.
This is, by the way, from an actual, like, you know, like a ship. It sounds like an organization that like is like real serious about doing shipping and stuff. Like, these are serious people. And like, so if you don't buy my word for it as like how unbelievably like how impossible it is for America to actually free up these like shipping things. Like, listen to this guy. Like.
Yeah. And I mean, to the shipping industry, of course, it's quite problematic that ships are now again being attacked as the consequence of Trump's decision to violate Iran's terms. Let's see how it all pans out.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm assuming they're talking about what I said earlier. The fact that America didn't open up the entire waterway as soon as Iran said we're going to start letting people through as a part of the ceasefire. I assume that's what he's talking about. But also in a similar note, like, they should also be pissed at America for just like doing this in general from like, you know, the start of the war, like entering into this war at all and making all of these the most obvious repercussions in the world come true, like become reality. Things that used to be hypotheticals that were like always known would happen are just like now happening, and it's all America's fault. So, I mean, honestly, it really is. It really is all America's fault, because in the end, Israel is an extension of America, and America can say no to Israel because we are the superpower here. We're the ones with the guns. We can say no to Israel. And we didn't. So like, this is not the best situation for these ship runners.
The question is, for how long are the two parties able to continue to maintain their current military posture? Will Iran be able to continue to exercise a degree of control over the Strait of Hormuz, or will the US eventually be able to break that dominance that Iran currently has over the strait?
I'll just go ahead and tell you, buddy, Iran's going to maintain it. Like, that's just how it is. Also, not just throughout the war, through the foreseeable future. So just get used to that. Get used to that reality and start making accommodations to it.
Well, Goldman Sachs has warned that global oil stocks are approaching their lowest levels for 8 years, and the speed of depletion is a concern. The price of the benchmark Brent crude was up some 6% on Monday. In the face of the ongoing tensions, it's still trading at around $113 a barrel. Well, Goldman estimates that total global oil stocks we're now at 101 days of global demand, with refined stocks much lower. Meanwhile, the Iranian economy is facing a deepening crisis, with rapidly rising prices, falling currency value, and prospects of the oil exports grinding to a halt.
That doesn't really matter that much. I'm going to be honest. During wartime, stuff like that does not matter. The same shit happened to Ukraine. And Ukraine's still trucking 5 years into this war. So their economy is trash. Their GDP dropped by 20% or whatever. That's just normal. We're in a war shit. Yes, there is some impact to not allowing Iran to trade oil, but it's nowhere near as much as the impact to the rest of the world from not receiving the oil.
Tiba Thacker is Regional Director for Middle East and Africa at the Economist Intelligence Unit. I asked her how concerning Goldman Sachs' warning is.
Very much so, I would say. We're a third month into the conflict. And I think it's important to understand what Project Freedom is all about. Yes, it's partly perhaps it's about humanitarian, but it is also to address this growing crisis with the geopolitical energy crisis that we've been seeing since the beginning of March. And I think it's very, very important to distinguish what Project Freedom really means. It sounds very robust than it actually is. And it's very important to understand they're not securing the passage of the commercial vessels. They're actually guiding them that have been stuck there for a long time. Very much the case. It's
they're giving them a map. They're saying, here you go, go this route, like a treasure map, like a pirate map. They're giving them, and they're saying, go this way and avoid the mines. That's basically what they're doing. They're not going to at scale be escorting ships like they did with those 2 American ships that they got through for the propaganda win or whatever. That's not what they're going to be doing.
The market really is seeing a distinction here, and this is where the prices comes in. Despite this Project Freedom announcement, which the Iranians have said is project dead already, it does not remove the core risk. Iran is still able to disrupt shipping, and shipping companies and insurers will remain super cautious. This effectively means constrained flow of oil, gas,
1 gunboat, 1 missile. That's all it takes.
Other commodities. And very much we expect prices to remain very elevated, reflecting disruptive supplies, the glut in the oil market already. Even if the war ends tomorrow, it will not be an instant reset. It will take several months for confidence to rebuild, insurance costs to come down, shipping to pick up, and supply chains to stay.
Well, yeah, and we're also in America. We're already fucked from the fertilizer angle. I heard 70% of farms aren't growing this year or whatever, are going fallow. That's not good. That means the prices of food and stuff is going to go through the roof. So